Give us a good name.
Alright, so when you guys were learning about triangle congruence, do you guys remember the different types of triangle congruence we had? They had the letters S and A. Okay, side angle side was one of them. Angle angle side was another one. Side 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 was one. Angle side angle was one. Angle side side was not one. Okay, so these ones are the ones, I believe I referenced it in the video last night, right?
Yeah.
This is for law of sines. Those are the two that are easy to do with law of sines. They're very straightforward. When you can see that that's the information you were given, you automatically know there's only one triangle that can be drawn with that information, and so it's easy. You go straight through it, do the problem, you're done. These two we haven't talked about yet. These are going to be law of cosines. So that's what your homework is. Your homework video is tonight. And then angle side side. Why was that not a triangle congruence theorem? Anyone remember why it wasn't? Yeah, it doesn't make one specific triangle. It could make 0 triangles or 1 triangle or 2 triangles. There's different scenarios. So angle side side is the ambiguous case. Does anyone know what the word ambiguous means? It means vague. It's the vague case because it doesn't necessarily make one triangle. We always have to assume that there are 2 and we have to check. Right, Andrew? Andrew, why is your phone in a different, orientation than it was before? Could it be that you were moving it so you could see it?
No.
Oh, I see. I know, I can see where it's at right now, and I know it's not going to move. I'm going to watch you. I'm watching you. Alright. So, the ambiguous case is a pain in the angle side side. That's how you remember what it is. It's a pain in the angle side side. And so we, tricky. Alright, now, on the video last night, I know that I labeled the triangles a certain way, and for this note packet, I made it so it would be A, B, and C this way instead. I'm sorry to be confusing. That was unintentional, but it happened. Let's move on and get over it. Okay, so over here I tell you what the measurements are, and we're going to make a triangle out of it. So angle A, we're going to label this corner, and it's 40 degrees, and I did measure that out, and it's accurate. So that's 40 degrees right there. Side C is at the bottom, and we're going to go ahead and use centimeters. So I want you to grab your rulers, and we're going to measure out 5 centimeters. So I got 5 centimeters on that side. And then side A is 7 centimeters, and so side A we're going to make 7 centimeters here. So I'm going to grab my ruler and connect the sides and make it so this one is 7 centimeters. And then just to make my life easy, I'm going to go ahead and label the things that I'm missing so that I know what I'm finding here. Okay, and if we're remembering what the law of sines is, you have the side length A over sine of A, the side length B over sine of B, and side length C over sine of C. You can also have those fractions flipped. You can have sine of angle A divided by side A, sine of angle B divided by side B. It does not matter. You choose whatever your heart desires. You have freedom to choose here. No? Nobody? Okay. You feel it? You like that you have some freedom there? Okay. Alright. So when we do law of sines, the very first thing is we want to find the pair. We want to find the angle and the side that go together. So what angle and side go together? 40 and 7, right? So I'm going to say the side length of 7 is over sine of 40 degrees. And then we have another side length. What is it? 5. And that corresponds to sine C, and so that has to be the first thing that we do. Okay, so what do we need to do? Cross multiply. So I've got 5 times sine 40 equals 7 times sine c. And how do we solve for c? So we have sine c equals that big fraction. Alright, and make sure that your calculator is in what mode today? Degrees. So hit mode, make sure that you're in degrees. Good news, the test for this unit is calculator active completely. Completely calculator active.
Speaking of tests, how's the other one looking?
Oh, I'll hand them back.
Today?
Yeah. I was so fast. I was so fast this time.
Is it because they were all like 100?
They get easier because the test was shorter. It took you guys a while, but it was short. Like, it was easier to grade because I was just like boom, 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 boom. They're not all different, yeah. Yeah, they're pretty good. Oh my goodness. Look. Somebody give me a marker so I can throw it. Okay. It's still in the same spot? I know. Are you stressed out right now? You look stressed. Let's take our time with the notes because it's funny that Andrew's stressed about the game. You guys ask all the questions you have. I am here for you. Let's take all the time we need, okay? All the time we need. Alright. So, let's go ahead and type this in. I'm a fan of the fraction button, so I'm going to hit alpha y equals so I can plug it in as the fraction. So 5 sine 40 divided by 7. Alright, how do I solve for c? So I've got this decimal equals sine of c. So I'm going to do sine inverse. And then how do I get that exact decimal back in there? Second, and then hit the negative sign so it pulls that answer and puts it in there. Alright. Ooh. Okay. So angle C is approximately, if we round to one decimal place, what is it? 27.3. Okay. Alright, so I have that. How do I find angle B? So I know that angle A is 40, I know that angle C is 27.3. Yeah, so if I do 180 and I subtract those two angles, then I'll have what angle B is. Now, I do not want you guys to round. This is probably the hardest part of the unit. I don't want you to round until the very end of the problem. So starting this unit, we're going to learn how to store numbers in the calculator, and we're going to do it from here through the rest of the semester until we get really good at it. And then by the time you get to calculus and you have to store numbers all the time, then it'll be like super easy, okay? So we're going to do 180 minus 40 degrees for the angle that we started with, and I'm going to do minus second answer, so I'm getting rid of that 27.3. I'm subtracting that. So my angle B is approximately 112.7 degrees. And I did not need to store angle C because I already know side C. And so angle C and side C, they're done. We already had that part of the triangle. But we still need side B. So my angle B, I want that exact number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the STO button. That means store. So STO, right here. So hit that. And it will say ANS for answer goes to, and now you get to choose the letter that you want to store it as. What letter would you guys like to store angle B as?
B.
B, that makes so much sense. So now, hit alpha B. So it says answer goes to B. On my paper, so I don't forget that I did that, I'm just going to put a little B right here with a circle around it. This is not math notation, this is Miss Rice has a bad memory notation. Okay, so this is just me making sure I don't forget, that's what I did. Okay. So press enter. Now it is stored in your calculator, so if you hit alpha B, that number is going to pop up because it stored it perfectly, it did not round it, it took the whole thing. Okay, sound good? We can store numbers? Alright, so now we have to solve for side B, so what should we do? Yeah, so we're going to go back to, you're right, we're going to do B over sine of angle B. I'm going to go ahead and do that since I had it stored. And then we can still use that perfect fraction we had in the beginning that had no rounded answers, was just the information from the original problem. So I'm going to use 7 over sine 40. And you can put B there if that helps you remember that you stored it. You could also put the 112.7 if having a B there makes your brain feel unhappy. I'm good either way. So this would be b times sine 40 equals 7 times sine of angle B, which is stored in my calculator. And then to solve for the side, I'll go ahead and divide by sine 40. And so B is approximately 7 sine, so I'm hitting alpha B to put it in there. You can see it's a 7 sine B divided by sine 40. And side B is approximately 10.0 centimeters. Why did I put the 0.0? Why didn't I just put 10? I rounded it to 0. Yep, I'm being consistent, so I'm showing all of them rounded to 1 decimal place. Alright. And then in theory, if you measured that with your ruler and you did a good job, then that side should be about 10 centimeters. Alright. So we have solved the triangle. All that solving a triangle means, if you see those instructions, solving a triangle means that you have found all the sides and all the angles. So there's no more unknowns, we got everything. Okay. So the first case, in the ambiguous case, there are 3 cases. The first case is that you have a result of 1 triangle. Okay. Next page. Ta-da. Alright, on this one, angle A is 40 degrees. Side C is going to be 7 centimeters. So we'll go ahead and measure out 7. And then side A, it says, is 5 centimeters. Now watch closely. Are you ready? We can put 5 this way. Do you guys see how that would make a triangle? Or we can put 5 this way. What? There's 2. Isn't that crazy? Spoiler alert, that's why there's 2 on the page. Alright, so let's go ahead and on the top one, let's have the one that goes out more, so it makes like the bigger triangle. The first time I taught that, the kids acted like their brains had exploded. They were like, what? No! Angle side side, 2 triangles. And it was funny. You guys were less funny about it. Did it mess with your brain a little bit? You were like, that shouldn't be right. You guys were just less verbal. You were more like stunned, like speechless. You were speechless at the wonder of mathematics. Andrew, how you feeling about not seeing the basketball game? Yeah. Alright, so now, let's draw the other picture since we had 2 of them. Wasn't that crazy? No? No? 2 triangles would totally work. You can leave your test up there, and then the other one is on the table. Do you see the edge where the calculators are? Cammed in by the door? By the door? All the way by the door? There you go, right there. Alright. No, just one. One's for Andrew. Okay. Alright, you guys ready to start this problem? Okay. So, what are the pieces of information that we have to start with? Where we got a side and an angle. Yeah, the 5 and the 40. So we're going to say 5 over sine 40. And I guess I could label these. This was C, this was B, that's B. Okay. And what are we going to find first? There's only one thing we can find first. What thing can we find first? Yeah, angle C. We have to do angle C because it's the only way we could set up a fraction. So sine C. So this is kind of boring. This is like the first page. We're just cross multiplying again. So we have 7 sine 40 equals 5 sine C. Are you guys doing it? Come on, Campbell. Jeez. Yeah. Okay, so I'm ready to plug it in the calculator. Isn't this a fun, awkward silence? I love them. Love them. Okay, angle C is approximately 64.1 degrees. Okay. Which triangle did we find angle C for? The first one, right? What do you guys think? What's a good estimate for the angle C down here? Something over 90. Yeah, definitely. So this one right here is the 64.1. We are going to need this in a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and store it. What letter do you guys want to store it as? C. So smart. That's a great idea. Okay, so C. I'm storing it as C. Well, that was fun. Okay, now the way that this is the part that's ambiguous, this is the part that all of today is setting up for, is how do you find the second triangle. So what you do is you do 180 minus the number you just found. Ta-da! 115.9. So angle C in the second triangle is 115.9. We just did 180. Well, so here's the thing is, we decided to give you guys this unit. There's 3 trig units, and this is our second one. In the third trig unit, we kind of teach you why it works. But the third trig unit is a little bit harder than this one, and we wanted to like lead you guys into it rather than just throw it at you and make you struggle. So it will make more sense in a little while. Yeah. Okay. So this angle, 115.9, is this angle C down here. And does that match 115.9? Does that seem logical for that angle? Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Okay. Now we are going to need that number as well. So what letter would you guys like to store that as? Let's not do C, because then we'll replace this one. F? Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, so we're going to store this as F. Okay, so now we have those 2 numbers stored in our calculator. So at this point, now that you know what your angle C is in each triangle, now you can pretend you're only doing one problem. So I'm just going to say, like, ignore problem number 2. I'm only focused on this one. I'm just going to do the rest of this problem now. Okay? So how do I find angle B based off of this angle C right here? Okay, so I'm going to do 180. And then what? Yeah, minus the A that I had, and then minus this angle C right here. And I had stored that in my calculator as C, so I'm just going to do minus C. Okay, so angle B is 75.9. And we are going to need to store that number because we need to go back and solve for side B. So what letter would you guys like to store that as? B. Okay, so store it as B. Now, the nice thing about this unit is this is a good unit to teach you guys how to store numbers, because for this unit, if you round the numbers and don't store them, it actually doesn't mess up your answers all that much. You might miss half a point here and there, but to be honest, your answers will basically be the same. It's later on in the semester when storing the numbers becomes important, because if you don't, your answer's off by like 20 or 500. So this unit is like a good chance to practice storing the numbers, but if you brain fart on the test and don't do it, honestly, it won't hurt you that bad. Does that make sense? But we want to try to get used to it if we can. Okay. So we have angle B is 75.9, and then we got to go ahead and solve for side B. So we'll do 5 over sine 40 equals side B over sine of angle B, which we have stored in our calculator. And we can go ahead and do our cross multiplying. And we're solving for for side B. So I'm going to go ahead and divide by that to get side B all alone. Yeah, and you can just leave it right up there for me. Perfect. Yep, marvelous. Okay, and then we'll type that in. So 5 sine B. Okay. And then were you guys able to get side B okay? 7.5 centimeters. And if you were to get out your ruler, that should be about 7.5 centimeters. Reasonable answer? Is that a reasonable answer there? Yeah? Okay. You're like, whoa, it actually worked. That's comforting, right? This math has a point. Marvelous. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve the other triangle. So I'm throwing this triangle away. I'm done with this one. Now let's do this one. Okay, so how do we find angle B? Yeah, the same way that we did the other one. So we're going to do 180 minus 40 degrees, but this time we're subtracting the angle C that we saved as F, because we're doing a different triangle. So angle B for this one should be 24.1. Addie, we missed you. Oh, I feel that excitement in the air. We have to store this. What letter would you guys like to store it as? We'll go ahead and store it. Now, in theory, you could store it as B because we're done with the other one. So if you want, you could store it as B, or we can store it as E just to be different. Whatever you want to do. What do we want to store it as? Or you could store it as R for rice, the best math teacher, and food group. That's right, rice is a whole food group. There's like carbs, fats, proteins, and rice. No? Let's do E. Okay, E. Yeah, you can put it by the windowsill. Yes. Yes. All right. You guys, we're almost done. Are you tattling on him? Is that what? Did you just tattle?
Yeah.
You are. How old are you? And you just tattled? Maybe if you hadn't tattled, he would have told you what the score was. Wow. All right. So we have angle B. We've saved it. Let's go ahead and do 5 over sine 40 equals